Hello Cloud Pedagogians, thanks for joining in AWS Cloud Developer course of CICD concepts. If you are ready, let's get started. Let's take a little deeper dive into CICD, which is continuous integration and continuous delivery concepts. So CICD is a tool by which we can add some structure and process. In a sense, it can be student directory application for implementing DevOps. It can be pictured as a pipeline where new code is submitted on one end, tested over a series of stages like source, build, test, staging, and production, and then published as a production ready code. A stable application that's going to deliver that software on time, promptly, and efficiently. Now, with DevOps, we talked about the necessity of integration those teams like development and operations, and our CICD concepts are going to smooth that process. So, what is continuous integration? Continuous integration can be considered as the first stage in the producing and delivering code. In software engineering, continuous integration is the practice of merging all developers' working copies to share a main line several times a day. Basically, it's a coding philosophy and set of practices that drive development teams to implement small changes and check in code to version control repositories frequently. We are going to take a look at Git and GitHub and how our team can essentially branch the main repository, make their changes, integrate them back into the main repository, and then deliver that code, either a feature or a bug fix, in a stable and efficient manner to the customer. Now, there are many version control tools. In this course, we are going to use Git, but that happens to be the most popular tool by far that you can use. Now, if we look at our little figure 8 diagram here, CI continuous integration. Our software team could be a small team, could be a large team, but they are constantly integrating code. And the danger of that is the introduction of new bugs into our code. So, as you can see, testing becomes a huge part of our continuous integration. So, it starts with our planning. That could be talking with our business team about desired new features. That could be bug tracking and planning to fix bugs. So, we have to plan this. Then it goes to our developers to code. They can branch their code, basically in a safe environment that they can work with. And then they do a build. A software build is a set of executable code that is ready for use by customers. But we can't just throw this code into production. It has to be tested, right? So we build to a testing environment. Our test team tests this code, and then ultimately what happens after test? Well, then we release. So let's venture over into continuous delivery. We can move on to continuous delivery, ultimately release and deploy this code. A release management refers to the process of planning, coordinating, and deploying software releases to production environment. Deployment is a shift of software from one controlled environment to another. Now, common tools for continuous integration could be something like Jenkins, but remember what we are doing here is AWS developer course. So, when we are talking about continuous integration, we are going to talk about code commit, code build, and code deploy is going to be over the CD side, but it is a continuous pipeline. So what are the keys to this? Well, our software developers are encouraged to check in their code frequently, small updates. And further down the pipeline, when we get to delivery, we want to deliver this code frequently in small chunks. And ultimately, the benefit of that is that's going to keep our production build stable. We are not making massive changes to production, little new features, a little new bug fixes. We want a smooth process, our CI/CD pipeline to be in control. We want to be in a state where our software is always releasable. In other words, we are not sitting here waiting for some kind of huge releases with many features and many bug fixes. This is a continuous process. Now think of our software lifecycle. We can have test bills. And remember, our development and our ops teams are integrated. And in a sense, this is the ops section of it. But we are working hand in hand. We are working on a day-to-day basis. And we are on our toes. We are responding to necessary changes. If the business decides that we need a new feature in our software, well, we have our process in place. And this process gives us the best opportunity to get that new feature to the market quickly. and I talk about a new feature but a major bug, you certainly want to get that resolved as quickly as possible as well. So that's a look at the process. Let's take a little bit deeper look at this and just make sure we are clear on these definitions and processes. And remember, a key to all of this is that we want to automate this process. We want a fast and efficient and an error-free process. And our best opportunity to do that is to automate this. And AWS Developer Tools, as we will see in upcoming sections, is going to help us to automate this. So we want continuous build, automated build on every check-in. Think about that. Every time one of our developers checks in, we are automated. We can go ahead and build that. Continuous integration, automated build and execution, at least unit tests to prove integration of new code with existing code. So unit tests, small unit tests, but preferably integration tests. End-to-end continuous deployment, often confused with continuous delivery, but we'll sort that out right now. When code passes our continuous integration, at least into a test environment, preferably into higher environments when quality is proven. So we are talking about a test environment, but we are also thinking about maybe a beta environment and ultimately a production environment. Once everything passed testing, we want to move this on to the next step. Usually not straight to a production environment. There are intermediate environments so that we can move this to. And then finally, we are talking about continuous delivery automated. Here is the key, publication and release. So we can automate the publication of our code into production. So really, these are broken down piece by piece, but this is our pipeline and the whole thing can be automated. Now having said that, we can automate pieces of this too. We don't have to get everything automated all at once. And we'll go through the course and we'll go through code commit, code build, code deploy, code pipeline, and then we can automate pieces of this. And then ultimately we want our whole pipeline to be automated. That automation, and again just the ability to quickly get our software features and bug fixes out to production is the point of our AWS Developer Tools suits in AWS Developers course. So we know what DevOps is, we know about continuous integration and continuous development, and we are just going to take it piece by piece. So let's move on, and next lesson we'll talk about Git and GitHub. I'd like to thank you for joining today and meet you soon in my next video. Until then, take care.